welcome to Book Talks. I am your host, Dimpho Mogale. Today, we're going to be speaking about bees. Yes, bees, the one that you know that irritate you. Yes, we're going to be speaking about them to our guest, Mokgadi. Let's welcome Mokgadi. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks.
Did you rise well today?
I did.
Right. So, Aunt Mokgadi, please tell us, where do you hail from and who is Mokgadi?
So I am from Limpopo. Mm-hmm. My family home is in Polokwane, and I stayed there for most of my life and only came to Gauteng when I started tertiary. Mm-hmm. And basically Mokgadi is an ordinary girl who had a normal childhood. Yeah. I have a family, my mom and dad. Mm-hmm. I had both of them growing up, and I am the first of 3 girls. Yo. And that basically sums up who Mokgadi is.
Is there pressure being a firstborn?
Is there?
Is there pressure being a firstborn?
Sometimes there is pressure, because you are sort of the guinea pig. Your parents are teaching themselves how to become parents with you. And so there's a lot of trial and error between you and them, and also navigating being a big sister. But pressure, not in a bad way. But there is some sort of pressure from being a newbie.
But you've risen to the occasion, so yes.
Thank you.
Native Nori, how did that begin?
So Native Nori was a complete mistake. Mm-hmm. There was no strategy or brainchild behind the formulation of the company. Mm-hmm. It was sort of an unintended inheritance. Mm-hmm. My father is a beekeeper, and he's always been all my life. So I've always been aware that he, was working with bees, and he always brought home honey, which was my favorite part. That's how I ended up falling into the space. And he just, when coming home, would bring me honey, and I was always excited to get some from his harvest. Mm-hmm. And he became a beekeeper because his father was also a farmer, but he was a crop and livestock farmer, and had just a few bees on his on some few hives on his farm to help his pollination with his crops with pollination. Mm-hmm. And my father then gravitated towards the beekeeping. Okay. So Native Nori came about because I started sharing some of my father's honey with friends and colleagues. And when I realized the appreciation for the honey, I then started buying honey off from my dad and then selling it and making a small profit. Mm-hmm. And that sort of snowballed into what we have today, because the progression forced me to start formalizing. I had to start, dealing with invoices, because the client would say, yes, you sold me 2 honeys, but can I have a receipt? Can I have an invoice? Yeah. And I was just selling honey as Mokgadi, who was getting it from the father. So things like that, slowly progressed, and you'd get a corporate client who are like, no, we want to use some of this honey for corporate gifting. Sure. Can I have your company documents? Yeah. And I'm like, I don't have any company documents. They're like, no, we need you to be a registered entity, Yeah. So those kind of things sort of progressed into Native Nori, and then we registered it in 2015 to actually start then the business formally.
Oh, then did you get advice as to starting Native Nori as a company? Because initially you started off just selling your honey, right, informally, but now coming to the registering, did you have any formal advice when you were like, okay, how do I actually start a company? How do I actually go about formalizing?
You learn as you go.
Yeah.
If someone wants an invoice now, then you check, you call your friends who have businesses, you check Google how to put together an invoice. Yeah. You check for templates, and it's the same. I think your general youth, somebody who's like over 20, knows that if you want to start a company, you go to the CIPC, for example, or you go to the DTI and ask, how to actually start.
Yeah.
I think also my bank also has some sort of kit to help new businesses.
Yeah.
So if you want to register a new business, they're actually able to assist you and do everything on your behalf. So those kind of technology advancing and stuff, that works in your favor, because some of the runarounds that you could have normally done are made easy by certain tools or institutions. And I know that with that process, I was helped by the bank.
Right. So in terms of legacy, now that we've established where Native Nori comes from your grandfather to your father to you eventually, how do you look at legacy now, looking back?
I think legacy is important. I was doing a leadership course and they were saying that Black people have a very poor chance of having legacy projects or legacy companies, because once the person who's in charge of whatever it is, no matter how big it is, when they die, the idea dies with them. And it's one of the biggest limitations of why there isn't intergenerational wealth, because of the legacy aspect. And as I indicated to you, my intention was never to be in the space. It was sort of like a progression. But once I was selling honey and once I was in the space, I realized that I wasn't just selling honey. I was actually, the next generation after my dad to continue something that was also started with them without the intention of taking it forward. And also I think from the African culture, we know that legacy is directed towards the son. And at home, we don't have any boys. It's 3 girls. So also in my head, based on how I was culturalized, I did not make room for myself to carry a legacy. Like I had my own ambitions that did not include what my father was doing.
Yeah. And how did you move from your qualification or your degree in international relations to what you do now? Are there any similarities or anything that you have learned from your degree and now that you use currently inside of your business?
Yeah, I think we had a small talk before, the formal interview, that I was saying professionalism is professionalism. It doesn't matter the space, and no experience is wasted.
Yeah.
So, working in the corporate world, you learn a lot of etiquette. You learn a lot of professional etiquette. Simple things like writing emails, responding on time, filing reports, talking to suppliers, and how to actually engage people, how to manage your stakeholders. It comes in handy when you're in the business world, because I see it with some of the interns that we take who are fresh from matric or fresh from varsity. They don't have that. It's not common knowledge. I thought it was common knowledge, and I got it because I was, a professional in the workplace, and there were certain skills that I learned and I was employing in the workspace, and they came in very handy when I had to now, start my own business, because things that I had taken for granted and I had known from the workplace, it turned out that it's not a given. You have to get certain skills, and I don't think it was a wasted experience for me to start the way I did, because then at least I could sort of manage certain aspects of my business much easier than it probably would have been if I didn't have the experience I had.
Okay. So as an entrepreneur, obviously you moved from corporate to business, right? And in terms of your employee, now that you've stated that you hire interns from matric to tertiary, who are out of tertiary, so how does that process work? Do they come to you and say, like, I need an internship, or how does it work?
It depends. Sometimes I scout, sometimes I'm not sure that I need something formal. And then, like now, we need an events intern. It's not something I've advertised yet, but we need it because we are opening a new event space where we need a dedicated resource to events.
Okay.
So it would depend if I know somebody in the industry, or if I know one of my friends have a sister or a brother who's not working, who's qualified, who's looking for the opportunity. And then I'd use them periodically, to say, no, we've got an event, the coming weekend. Can you come through? This is the client. Please deal with them. And as the portfolio grows, then I'm able to onboard them full time. Other times, I just don't find anyone who I feel can do the job justice. And then I have to just post on my social media. At least we are not like a serious institution where there are certain, laws and rules on how to go about advertising and recruiting. So at least because it's my business, I have that flexibility. It always helps to work with somebody who's been referred by someone because even when they act up, you know where to go. If they're not well or if they're not coming to work and you can't get hold of them, you know that you can call someone to just find out if they're okay. So that always helps. But it's not the only way in which we get people to work with us. Other people, they come to us, they send us their CV, they tell us what their skills are, and if they're lucky enough and we need somebody with that skill set, then we call them up and see if we can arrange anything. Because another thing, we're a small business, so we don't have all the money to give them very attractive packages. But the good thing is that we are a growing business. So as we grow, they grow, their portfolio grows, their income becomes better. So it just depends on when and how we get, people who are willing to work with us and grow with us. And if it works, then they stick.
So in terms of getting support, like funding or any type of support, has your business received any of that?
No, we've never received funding, more especially government funding. We have tried to apply for land because we are a beekeeping business. We need land through the various applications that have been sent out by the department, but we've never received anything. We have received intervention, but from the private sector, to actually help us with growing, especially because of our agro-processing, because we actually harvest our own honey and we process our own honey, bottle our own honey, and sell our own honey. So we did receive assistance from a mine who we work with that we do bee removals for, and then we benefited from the small business project, and they were able to fund some of that. We've recently also been to New York for the fancy food show that takes place there every year, and that was funded by Food BFCTA. It is an agency of government. So in that way we have, but anything else, no.
Well, now that you've mentioned that you've traveled, so how did that exhibition go or that launch go? What did that do for your business?
That showed me that we live in the best country in the world, because before I went to New York, I have traveled around a bit. And every time I just travel, it's reinforced that we stay in an amazing country. We've got the best food. I struggle a lot when I travel. We have the best people, simple things like greeting when you're passing a person. It's not common. When you're from South Africa, it's common sense. Why are you passing a person without greeting? But it's not the same in other countries. The warmth that we have here in South Africa from people who actually just care. In South Africa, if you're lost, you stop by and ask anyone. In other countries, they ignore you. They don't care if you're lost or not. If they don't know you, they don't interact with you. And also just how superior our food quality is compared to other countries. We have the best climate. for agricultural produce, and you see that when you travel, because you get there and the food is just not coming to the party, and you're just like, no, guys, you need to go to South Africa. You need to do better with your food. And much as there are, benefits to traveling and learning other people's cultures and how they actually do things, it also just, helps you to appreciate where you come from better. The experience, you can never trade it for anything, but home is home.
Yeah, home is home, definitely, for sure. So going back inside of your business, for someone who doesn't know what beekeeping is, can you please simplify it for us?
So beekeeping is the management of bee colonies to either produce honey, to either do research and development, or to provide pollination services to crop farmers. Pollination is the act of putting a pollinator. It could be bees, it could be butterflies, it could be insects, it could be the wind. But bees are the biggest crop pollinators for for food consumed by humans. So it's the act of taking beehives and placing them on those farms so that they can improve the quality of the crop and also the harvest, the general harvest of the crop. So where you could have harvested a kilo, you might end up with 1.5 kilos simply because you've got bees on your farms and that crop is like of a very good quality compared to what you would have gotten in the absence of it. Bees would travel from one flower to another, and where we humans and animals are able to reproduce, flowers can't do that for themselves. And as bees move from flower to flower, they are carrying pollen on them that would help to swap the male and female seeds from each flower to each flower. And even crops that don't necessarily have flowers, they all flower before they become a fruit. So for example, like avos, there's a small flower that avos get before they actually turn into an avo. The same with oranges, the same with cucumbers, the same with macadamia nuts. And you need that act of pollination. So there are other pollinators, but the bee is the biggest food pollinator. So that's the other reason why you would then go into beekeeping. We as Native Nori do both pollination and honey production. And so for us to do that, we have to actually manage beehive colonies. How we do it is we place empty beehives that have been layered with beeswax, and those empty beehives with the smell of the wax attract the wild bees to the beehive. The beehive would be man-made. Sometimes there are wild colonies which you would get in the tree trunks and stuff like that, but because we are managing it, we will place out our own beehives. And then you manage that colony, you help it to actually become established, and then once it's established, you are then able to harvest honey from it, or you can take that beehive and place it on a farm for pollination. And then from the honey, we will then process it to make honey that you will buy. And there are other byproducts like beeswax that you can reuse to relayer your beehive, or you can use for other stuff like skincare products, furniture, polishing. There's a lot of stuff that you can use with beeswax.
As Native Nori, do you only do honey specifically, or do you do other products?
So we currently specifically do honey, and in different ways. So we do a lot of corporate gifting with corporates. That's our favorite because it's a low-hanging fruit for us. We make a lot of, not a lot of, but we make slightly more money than we would if we were selling honey itself, because from the honey in our business, that's not what makes us money. Honey has very low margins, and we don't make a lot of money from the honey. So we depend on corporate gifting for us to actually make our margins, and also event gifting. So if you're having baby showers, weddings, whatever, we like to offer small little gift parcels that are made from honey, and those kind of things actually, boost our revenue. We also do other stuff like beekeeping masterclasses, and we also have now a hosting space that is going to start in September, where people can actually then come to our emporium and come for their own thing, but then have the experience of being in our space and being introduced to products that they probably would not have been introduced to if they weren't attending that event in our space. So we try to maximize on the brand so that we can diversify and try other things. With regards to other products, skincare range, we are working on that. We'd like to have our own skincare range because honey and its byproducts like wax and propolis and pollen have a lot of benefits for the skin and for your health and lifestyle. So we are trying to, do the necessary scientific research to make sure that we can be able to diversify into skincare range, and then hopefully in the near future some beverages that are honey based.
Do you get beverages that are honey-based, like solely honey-based?
Yes, there's honey mead, which is a traditional honey wine that is made from honey. It's very popular outside South Africa, so countries like Egypt, Ethiopia. So people who are well-traveled, they know honey mead, but it's not very big in South Africa. We sell it at the Emporium. But also, with the kind of lifestyle diseases we have, we're hoping to actually do normal drinks that but just substituting the sugar that would be found in the products with the honey, so that it can be a better alternative, because sugar is sugar, but if it's through honey, it's natural sugar that is absorbed better and actually has health benefits that can benefit your lifestyle, instead of just the sugar that brings along lifestyle diseases that we are trying to avoid. So that would just be an opportunistic move that we would make to be able to, diversify our product that would have benefits for our consumers.
Sure. Apart from just gifting, do you also go to like your flea markets and sell your honey there, or how's the process?
Yes, we do that, not very often, because normally the stalls charges are exorbitant. Versus the returns that you're going to make. You'll find that the profit that you're going to make in the day was swallowed up by the stall fee, Okay. So it would depend on what kind. We love doing ones with corporates where, it's an entrepreneur day, or they're hosting their own event or wellness day and they call us over, because honey is an expensive product. And, if you take it, for example, to a place where your target market doesn't exist. For example, if there's a same concept in a rural area, then you would have to go there knowing who your target is. So you would probably be targeting the grannies with certain ailments that honey can actually attend to. But from a lifestyle perspective, you're not going to make money because those people do not have money. They're prioritizing, getting a meal every day.
Sure.
So their priorities are very different from, for example, if you're going to Sandton, where people actually have a lot of money and they've got liquid cash and they care about things like sugar versus honey. Then there you can actually make money. So we try to always check, that the places where we are invited to, who would we be targeting? If we do not have a convincing target that's going to be at that event, then we rather than refocus our energies into, looking at other aspects of the business that would create more revenue, in return for our time.
Yeah. So later in the future, or even now, are you looking to partner with any brands or any other businesses that are similar to yours?
We thrive on collaboration. It's not a new concept for us. For example, with honey, when you think honey, what do you think? How to use your honey? If I were to give you honey now, what would you use it for?
I would use it for my skin. Now that you said it's for skin properties, but also like I would use it if I'm sick. you know, just like boil water, honey, lemon, ginger, and drink that and be good because it's pure honey, naturally. So yeah, those are the two things I can think of at the top of my head right now.
So you are the kind of person who we are looking at when we do collaborations, because honey has so many uses. It's so diverse. You can use it daily. So we always partner with chefs, for example, who always use our honey to try and diversify its uses, to show people, you know, that honey is not meant for tea. It is a superior product that can be used in various ways, and the dishes that make up honey are not necessarily always sweet dishes. You know, you
like
could
desserts.
It's not always about dessert. You could, for example, have a salad and have a honey-based salad using balsamic vinegar and maybe some lemon juice and stuff like that, and some chilies. You can use it as a marinade. You can use it for basting, as a basting sauce. You can also use it, obviously, for your skin, a homemade skin scrub. You know, you can use it for so many things. You can use it as an iced tea for your kids when they go to school to substitute the sugar that would be in juices. So there's such a wide variety of the way we use our honey, and we try to showcase that by collaborating with people so that they can be able to, you know, demonstrate the different uses of honey and how it can be incorporated into your daily life. If it's not for tea or warm drinks, or when you're sick, you don't have to be sick, and you don't have to want a warm drink for you to actually enjoy honey. We also partner with a lot of, we try to partner with a lot of corporates. Like now we were doing a Women's Day event last week where we were talking, and they had us, and we were, you know, giving stories about our business and, you know, just how it is to run a business and why it's important for women to own, you know, and run businesses. And we were also collaborating with other companies, you know, that are not necessarily in the beekeeping space. For example, the tea makers, we collaborate a lot with them. The skincare ranges, you know, we collaborate a lot with them. And we also host other entrepreneurs who have superior products in our emporium. So we don't just sell honey, you know, we sell a whole lot of stuff like chilies, like relishes. We sell olive oil, skincare stuff, you know, lifestyle products like candles and diffusers. And the common denominator is young black females who are South African and are making quality products that we feel resonate with the Native Nori brand.
So in terms of your challenges as an entrepreneur within the beekeeping space, but I think normally in a normal business, what are your challenges?
Money and land. It's the same across the board. We are black, we don't have old money, we don't have rich uncles who can hook us up with capital. You know, we don't have legacies of, you know, families who have land. And not just land, Yakodi Blasing, like Dichemo and stuff, like proper land that is well resourced, that has good security, that, you know, can be well developed or have access to developing it, like boreholes. There's a lot that it takes to run a farm. And even if somebody offer like land and it's just in the middle of nowhere, it really still needs so much work to get to a point where you can use it as an active farming residence. You know, so because we don't come from old money, everything that we do is very expensive and very difficult to employ because everything needs money. You know, you want to employ people, you need money to pay them. You want to start a new business proposition, you need money to fund it. You've got a new product that you want to launch, you need money to fund it. You've got a new event that you want to bring people to your store so that they can be able to see your product. You're going to need money to host them. So everything that you need to do in your business requires money. And when you do not have old money or or money to back you up, it becomes very difficult for you as an employee to scale at the rate that, your counterparts would, if they had, like, for example, your typical white person who has a completely different, upbringing and completely different resources. And also another thing is Black people do not own the industry. So when you're looking at putting your honey in any chain store, it probably belongs to a white person. The supply chain is probably full of white people, and Black people who are working there are reporting to somebody there. They're not decision makers. So you as a Black entrepreneur have so many hoops that you have to jump to. I've got a business partner who's white for another brand that I run. And where I have to grovel for all the context, she's able to pick up the phone and say, I know somebody who, has that product in the store. I know somebody who owns this establishment. And things are so much easier with her because of her network and because of old money. So when you're Black, it becomes so challenging to, just get from point A to point B, whereas, people who come from different backgrounds and upbringings, they have a completely different experience. And not to say the experience is not challenging, but it's made so much easier because of, the type of lives that they lead and the people who they have in their lives. So, land, we are not going to go into it. It's a completely different thing. But, we definitely need land. We can't afford the kind of land we want, but we need it because of the kind of business we are in, and it will definitely help us to scale.
And can you name a few of your successes?
Yes, we opened a honey emporium in Menlo Park, Pretoria, in the height of COVID 2020. It's still standing today. I've wanted to close it a few times because it's just so challenging to, run a business that is as niche as Native Nori. And also because we sell such a luxurious product, people don't need honey. If you want your sugar, if you want your tea sweet, you just get sugar. You have to want honey for something specific, either the health benefits or because you can afford it, and to have that kind of product where the dependencies for buying are so unique, you are not always guaranteed, the income that you need to keep the business sustainable. And also just working with employees, man. When the business is not yours, you don't care. You are there to collect your salary or your stipend, and then you go at the end of the month. So managing people in a business that belongs to you is very difficult because it keeps you away from trying to strategically place the business because you are working with operational issues as well. That becomes a challenge, but keeping the store alive is a big milestone for us. We've also been a leader for the South African industry of beekeeping. For my kind of profile, we don't get a lot of Black people, especially females, I'm no longer young. But in the space, it's not a lot of people like me who are doing what I do. So that is a big milestone for us. And because of that, we've been, introduced to spaces where we never thought we were going to be. I mean, we've received, a scholarship or a learnership to go to Israel. We've been to Kenya. We've been to New York. We've traveled quite a bit because of what we do, which are big milestones. We've also had the privilege to partner with a lot of corporates, which, think we're amazing because of what we do. And that is a big win for us because, it's very difficult to step into corporate South Africa as a young, small business. And just trying to navigate the space and being pioneers in our little industry is a big win for us.
And how would you attract a young person listening or watching this show now who's like, I'm into beekeeping, but I don't know where to go. I have the way to start, but where to go, I don't know. What is your advice to them?
Just start, man. Just start with what you have where you are, because it's always easy for you to think that you need a lot of things. To start anything, this is not related to beekeeping. To start anything is difficult, to take an idea in your head and just bring it to life is a very difficult thing to do. It takes a lot of bravery. It takes a lot of gut. It takes a lot of self-confidence that you're probably struggling from, that you probably don't even have. You cannot employ ordinary ideas for you to be extraordinary. So start where you are with what you have. If you have a beehive, if you can make a beehive, if you can find protective clothing to actually start your beekeeping, use your resources differently instead of, busy trolling people on Instagram and social media. Google how to become a beekeeper, how to manage a hive, how to use honey, sell honey, buy honey from people like me and sell it and start learning about it. There's a lot that you can do by yourself before you even go to the next person. And I have a lot of people who come to me and say, mentor me, and I refuse. I don't want to mentor anyone who has not done any work to demonstrate how serious they are. I'm not going to take my time and teach you stuff that you're supposed to learn yourself. If you come to me and say, Mokgadi, I have bought a beehive, or I have learned this, this and that. I'm having a challenge with this because this is where I want to get to. Are you able to help me? I'll help a person like that because they have done their work and they're at a point where they need assistance because they've started something. But you come to me and say, I want to be a beekeeper. I'm not going to entertain you. And that's why a lot of people say business people do not want to teach them. It's not that. It's because you are not employing anything with the resources that you have to start your own journey. Nobody's going to spoon feed you. We are all suffering. I've got my own struggles every day, and I'm not going to take time that I do not have to invest in somebody who's not investing in themselves. So it's very important to start where you are with what you have, and it's also important to be your biggest cheerleader. Because we have this notion that because you are Mokgadi, you started a beekeeping company and a lot of black people don't do it, you are special and you deserve special treatment. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Everybody has their own problems and they're trying to solve their own problems, and nothing makes you special. You are the only person who's going to make yourself special by showing up for yourself. And once you show up for yourself, you attract other people who see that, oh my goodness, this girl has done an amazing job. Let me talk to her and see what her business is about and see if there's any room for us to collaborate, because you've started something. But if you haven't started anything and you expect stuff to be dropped on a silver platter, that is not going to happen, especially as a black person. We have so many challenges and we do not have time to spoon feed other people because we are so overwhelmed with our own life journeys and just trying to navigate our way. So just start where you are with what you have, and you will attract the right people to be in your space to help you grow.
Amen. I have learned so much in this short time, and before we close up, I just want to say thank you for honoring our invite and our invitation and being here and teaching us about beekeeping and about business and about rising up as a woman who's in business. My second last question, how do we get a hold of Native Nori and your products, and where do we buy your products?
So you can come to us. Our emporium is in Menlo Park in Pretoria. You can Google it. We are on Google Maps. So if you say Native Nori Honey Emporium or Native Nori, you should see us and be able to navigate to where we are. We are on all socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Native Nori is our name throughout. You'll see it. It's a nice black emblem with a yellow bee. And then we are also on if you check us on the Google link, it will give you also our telephone number and our email address, which is info at nativenosi.co.za. So we're very, very easy to find because our name is consistent everywhere. And our products are sold at our emporium if you're able to make it there. If not, our website, nativenosi.co.za, has an online shop that delivers nationwide in South Africa. So you're able to buy our honey and also the other products that we host in the store that are not necessarily made by Native Nosi, but are made by other local entrepreneurs who do amazing product. We try to celebrate indigenous products. So on our website, you'll get mopani worms, you'll get baobab powder, you'll get chilies, you'll get honey meat, the one that I was talking about. You'll get lifestyle products. You will get a whole lot of stuff. You'll get cookbooks. I told you we collaborate a lot with chefs. You'll get cookbooks from our emporium, and you'll also get some of the events that we host, like master classes, beekeeping master classes for people who want to learn. We also have that on the website, and wherever you are in the country, we can deliver to you.
Right.
Oh, and where are we available? We are in Cape Town at Wheeler's Pharmacy. It's in Hout Bay. We are at in Modderfontein, Joburg, at a place called La Marina Foods. We are at Pure Living in Brooklyn. We are in Durban at the Orange Tree.
Okay.
We are also in Midrand at the Bread Box Bakery. And I forgot the others. You can just go on our Instagram. That's where we are most active because it's very visual. So people like to see stuff before, they can actually understand what you do. So all Instagram posts, we post a lot there. Then you can get an update of what we are up to and how we are going about doing our business.
Yeah. And is there like a mobile number if you can't get into Instagram or Facebook? Is there a mobile number that you can call?
Yes. Our store number is 066 232 7780. 066 232 7780. You can call there, or you can go to our website, and either way you should be able to get hold of us.
Thank you very much for blessing us. We bless your business, Native Nori, and may it continue to grow and create more beast drives across the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Liluna Mahai Lidikutlwezi from Ausi, of how she rised from the ashes, She didn't rise from the ashes, but she continues to create a legacy, and we're very proud of her, and we're saying thank you to her for her contribution. And listen to the story and also go and create for yourself, because no one is here to serve you, but you are here to serve yourself and the community that you live in. And until next time, I'm your host, Dimpho Mogale. Peace.